bipolar, I mean, what problem I face is that when the patient comes to you, he's in a particular state, and that state will completely change after a particular time. So you prescribe on what you are talking to him right now, because if he's in the mania state, he's going to talk all good things. And sometimes when you take a, say, tell your nature or before they started or childhood, it's not always that they are able to describe that, because that particular state is so predominant. How do you revisit it and what can you guide?
I remember when we started sensation method, so I would get these patients who are completely schizophrenic. So I said, इनको कैसा भी दवा दे सकते हैं? So I would tell them पहले तो एलोपैथी लेना पड़ेगा, and I would give them allopathy, and then I said once they start feeling normal and then they start talking, that time we'll take the history, then he'll be able to tell. So I was doing this. फिर मैंने शंकरन को देखा. Somebody goes to Shankaran for migraine, he goes on asking, talks and takes them so deep that they start talking nonsense. And when they talk nonsense, he says, अभी मेरे को दवा मिला. तो वो सेंस वाले को नॉनसेंस में लेके जाता है, बाद में दवा देता है. चलो मेरे पास तो नॉनसेंस वाले ही आते हैं, मेरे को तो हाफ प्राइस देना चाहिए शंकर से. मेरे को तो रेडीमेड नॉनसेंस देता है. So what I want to say is, whatever you talk, whatever you do, whatever you feel, everything comes from your state. Nothing has to be denied. So when you say manic is not like fever or malaria where everybody is same. उसमें भी अलग होता है. लेकिन rigors and periodicity. So general trend is that he is in an upbeat mood. Yeah. But what they talk, what they do, what they feel is very different. So you have to go there only straight. इधर भी घूमने का जरूरत नहीं है. What does he do? All that is indicated. Generally, what I have seen, most homeopaths will give Veratramana. That sort of fits things very big and excessive spending and want some lavish and moving around in taxi all over Bombay. So Veratramana. But when you go into the deeper, this is behavioral level. When you go deeper, what he feels, how he feels, what it is. So this is half of the story. Then you have to ask what he feels in depression. That is the other polarity of the same illness. I will give you an example. Where somebody will say, he feels very confident, he can do everything. He is investing money in share market and he feels he can make a money. He is starting a startup and he is doing this. And in his depression, he doesn't feel like going out. He wants his wife to sit next to him. He has absolutely no confidence. Both are opposite polarities, no? Something like lycopodium. So, one side overconfident, I can do everything. Other side completely diffused. Okay?
These side it's coffee.
So, what you have to see is the polarity, overconfidence, and then you will get the history also. How about his life, how he is. That always he is trying to, you will see that.
You want sugar?
Quality of all of the lycopodium, that is got all the ancient plant quality, sentimental and hurried, and all this you will see later on. But generally bipolar means
black coffee hai, I don't know black coffee.
Bipolar is usually called a mood disorder. So predominantly what you will see is something from infancy or natrum line development. Whether, when I say natrum line development, I am telling this because I am not talking chakra. I mean plant correlation of natrum line or correspondence may you can have anything. But it is emotional ability. You get very high mood and low mood. And the exceptions are, a few of them are toddler, which is again in natrum line because they are towards mania. So there you will have something like lycopodium or an acid remedy, overexertion, or coca where you are overexcited, you want to do too much and then you can't do. you're totally tired. So you have to see what is that polarity. 90% it is mood. So you will have some remedy which has to do with emotions. And emotions, but not very strong ego. For example, like Ovino. Where you come very happy, then you come very sad, there is no balance. So nothing has to be refused. So now when schizophrenic comes also, I will ask him, what all you feel, tell me what are your delusions, what are you afraid? And whatever they talk itself is all remedy. So it is not disease. Disease means high and low. But the content of that high and low is very, very individualized. All manics don't feel the same, except they might spend a little more and a little confident, but if you go deeper, what they feel is very different. So we don't have to deny anything.
So for Veratrum, for example, we know the manic state of Veratrum. We don't know the depressive state of Veratrum from a literature perspective.
There is no ailment from loss of social position.
And
so general impression you get of Veratrum. Most of them give Veratrum. But that is not true. It is not going to help. Exertion, exhaustion. Simple remedy, it could be like even like equinum. Where that person is trying a lot of time to prove himself. He feels I can do it. He's getting a pat. And then he feels, no, I'm a failure. Like feeling of an unsuccessful effort. So you have to see where is that energy and what exactly he does and what he feels there. Is it in context? Then you have to see whether it's in context of a mammal theme or a whatever. Mollusk or. But very often it is very early stage of development. Some remedy from early stage. Because they don't have that balance. They can go too much up, too much down. That steadiness is not there. Nothing has to be denied. At one time it was like, you look down, no? You're giving, prescribing at a human level. Physical level, koi bhi level, all levels speak the same language.
You have to pursue it. Even the pathology sometimes.
You know, when we do cases in ITC, finally when I read it, looks like, oh, it is there. They all come up with a remedy, and then I'll say, see what he's talking. See what you have to pick. So it is perceiving the case. How that art of really listening, what is the core issue of that case? So it is not just information. We have a lot of information about many things. Main thing is art of case taking. How you perceive that main is issue. Uska jo essence hai na, to go to that essence is very important. And that is what we talk all throughout. And in cases you see, and you also have seen, no? Every line we explain.
So even in OCD cases, sometimes it's very difficult to understand and results also sometimes. Because somewhere I feel that the understanding is...
Bipolar is more difficult because you feel it's alright.
Yeah.
You see, arey, 2 saal dekho, and you present the case, and as soon as you present the case, next time you'll have you say you finish your lecture so that you don't feel guilty. After that you will get it. So it is over a period of time. You cannot present, in 3 months, 6 months a bipolar case. It's very extended period when all is medicines. So it is because it is episodic, periodic. OCD is all the time there, no? And let me tell you, allopaths have no answer in OCD. Absolutely no. They have 2 tablets. One is clomipramine and
Like in my practice, no, when patient comes, like they have developed OCD like 6 months.
फ्लूऑक्समी ये 2 दवा है, बाकी उन लोग बोलेंगे CBT करो, cognitive behavior करो, and they'll put the whole thing on him. You have to do it. You have to do it. Homeopathy is the best for OCD. कोई भी आपके पास OCD पेशेंट होगा ना, उसको बोलो आपको होम्योपैथ के पास है, because especially if you are doing that PM method or who have done FHPC, always be very good in treating such cases.
Some are, I mean, I've got confidence in treating OCD because of PM and whatever you have taught us. But some cases, he's saying it's easy, but some cases somehow I don't know.
तो उसके लिए ये करो ना, मेरा डेस्कटॉप है ना साइकेट्री, the desktop psychiatry book only has been written, it is first of its kind, no? Psychiatry for homeopaths. It's a whole book on psychiatry from a homeopathic perspective. Even the classification is homeopathy. I have not followed the allopathic classifications. For schizophrenia we have our own category. तो उसके अंदर सब लिस्ट दिया है ना, तो देखने का कौन सा एक just glance through.
So I want to say, an Agaricus ka case was there, and it was possession disorder. So we were just discussing. Malak was saying schizophrenia, and then he said no possession. So मैंने desktop psychiatry खोला, और sir has given Solanaceae, फिर 5th subclass, and sir has given fungus also. तो फिर मैं वही ऐसे fungus I don't know. Let me stick to 5th subclass.
So you can have it's a ready reckoner, you know, immediately you can check there. क्या मिस होता है? So it has been done.
How much to stay with, like now with the map and this correlation, we know, okay, we come to a group of friends, but especially in OCD cases, how much to stay with the remedy and how, like,
See, I tell you why it is difficult. You have to know why certain pathology is difficult. I was just talking to Reni something in different context about some patient she was talking. Now, why do you go to a doctor? You go to a doctor because you are in pain.
Yeah.
Mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever you want to say. But you have pain. OCD is where you do something not to have pain. ये थॉट है, हाथ धो देता तो निकल गया. So this is ameliorating. It is making you better. If I go on cleaning, then I feel no dirty. If I wash my hand, then I'm secure. My parents, nothing will happen. Or if I switch, then I'm very sure that lights are off and there will be no harm to my house. So to remove somebody from comfort zone, because when he doesn't do, he's anxious. So what you are telling him is don't do. He said, "Look, I am very anxious." So this is it. So this is a quite, in a way, OCD is a quick fix.
Yeah.
Quick fix is again like an infant, instant gratification. एक बच्चा होता है ना, उसको भूख लगा तो वो रोने लग जाता है. वो थोड़ी बोलेगा मम्मी फोन पे बात करिए उसकी बहन के साथ, मैं बाद में रोता हूँ. रोएगा ना. तो उसको भूख लगी तो वो रोएगा. तो वैसा है, उनको इंस्टेंट चाहिए, बेचैनी है, तुरंत कुछ करो. सो उसमें क्या प्रॉब्लम होता है? When they stop, it's like cigarette. जो पीता है, नहीं पिएगा तो बेचैनी होता है, पीता है तो आराम हो गया. अभी उसको बोलो छोड़ो, तो होता नहीं यार, मेरे से नहीं जमेगा, तकलीफ होता है. Correct? So it is like addiction. It is like alcohol. You tell him to do something which is going to cause pain. You are not removing pain. You are telling him that will cause pain. So first and foremost, you have to orient him. You have to give him an idea. It is like that. You have to tell him we need your support. We tell him that we will give you medicine so that you will not be in so much distress. But you will have to face it a little bit. Try to divert your mind. But take this. Otherwise, the other option is your medicine will go on and you will remain in a robotic stage. Your mind will be dulled up. You will not be able to do anything. So many patients want such quick fix. अभी मैं काउंसलिंग कर रहा, मैं इसको ये बोलता हूँ, तभी बोल, मैंने गाली तो नहीं दिया, सर मैंने गाली तो नहीं दिया ना. And then he insists that you give an answer. नहीं, मैं नहीं सुन सकता हूँ आपको आगे, पहले आप बोलो मैंने गाली नहीं दिया ना. So, they want a quick fix. This is a problem. And it is relieving. That's another problem. So, it is like an addiction. So, you have to first time tell him that little support I want from you. 5-10% you, I'll give you medicines. You make it clear you want to improve or not improve. If you want to improve, then you will have to go through this and give them this idea how it is. And this is a childish way, and this is not where you are stuck. You feel that today is your problem like this. I'll tell you, after 15 years, 10 years, it will be even 3-4 times more. And with much more medication. You make your choice. So then they come, then gradually we can, and not to remove their medicines, to start our treatment and slowly reduce. Many hypochondriacs also are like that. तुरंत चाहिए, सर दर्द हो गया, डॉक्टर दवा दो. They don't have the tolerance ना. हम लोग कैसा बोलते हैं ना, फ्लू है तो क्या है, क्या लेने का, कुछ नहीं लेने का. The more you get it out, let it. That's natural thing, na? It's going to be all right any other way. So those panic buttons, for small thing, they want a quick answer. So they are dependent on medicine, and they feel it is the best way. And then doctors don't have time, na? वापस हो गया दवा के बाद. It is not because of the illness has come, but it's his nature. क्योंकि ये हो गया, तो डॉक्टर ने ये ले ले, चल ये ले ले, and that goes on multiplying. And every time he'll continue to complain because it's a part of his nature. And the medicines go on and on till he becomes completely done. So the issue is not OCD, it is his nature which we need to, and then we have to orient him. So once he's understood what you are trying to talk and he's cooperative, then it's not a problem. But to tell him that, my medicine will make you alright, you don't have to do anything is not correct. सिगरेट वाले को बोलेगा, बोलेगा मैं तो पीने वाला हूँ, आपको दवा देने का दो, आप स्टैफिसाइक्लिया दो, कुछ भी दो. If he is not going to stop, how can you help him? So we need a little, both are on the same page, and he is volunteering and saying, okay, I will go through a little bit, but make it easy for me. It is something like that. So you have to talk this to them.
Many times it happens when patient comes with physical complaint, and at one point we realize इसको OCD भी है, but the patient only doesn't know.
Exactly.
So in those cases, now though I have stopped telling that we can treat this, because I have seen in my practice they are not ready for it. They feel that is completely correct. We know this is OCD. Like this cleanliness thing, the other family members will also come and tell us that too much of
that is the problem. Many times they idealize it also.
Yeah.
They'll say, अरे बाकी लोग कितने गंदे हैं, आप देखो, they have made a virtue out of it. So even to see it as a something wrong is not seen.
Yeah.
They make it a virtue out of it. Then to it is even more difficult. Because it's a payoff, no? See others are how dirty. देखो ना पुलिस वाले का घर, उनका तो दरवाजा खुला है तो वो भाग के चली जाती है.
Yeah, that is.
हाँ? उसके घर में कोई आएगा तो भी बाहर ही चप्पल निकालो. हस्बैंड को लेगा पहले सीधे जाओ, नहा के आओ, फिर अभी.
One patient with thuja, severe means severe OCD. Like आपको 2 बजे से लेके 5 बजे तक she has to do that. She is that Krishna Bhagwan का
chanting. Chanting.
No, chanting, not ISKCON. क्या बोलते हैं?
सेवा.
श्रीनाथ जी
सेवा.
खाना बनाना, झूला जलाना, पुष्टि करना.
And every time she has to enter the kitchen, she has to go take a bath. Oh God, puja means very risky.
Good. Because guilt is very strong in puja. If you see ancient plants, no, ancient plant goes reverse evolution. So ancient plants का बढ़ के you come to conifers. First you have the mosses, then you have the lycopodiums, then you have the firs, then you have the cycads, and then you have to finally you get into conifers. And conifers are those tall trees, Sequoia gigantea, Agathis australis. 3000 से 4000 से वो इधर ही है. Can you imagine? You just go to any of that tree and you look, no, you feel spiritual. Only at that bigness and somewhere immortal. How they grow from their own self, they regenerate, and the way they are there, it's like they have seen the time beyond time, and they are standing so steady there. Some of those are very spiritual, and they are very tall conifers. From there the descent begins. Because that is ancient plants. Ancient meaning not of this generation. What is the difference between that and this? This generation has flowers. It's like advertisement. It is ego. आपको ये पेड़ देखने का तो आपने कौन सा पेड़ तो पहले हम लोग देखेंगे उसमें फूल कौन सा है उसके हिसाब से बोलेंगे ना ये रोज है ये मोगरा है ये है वो है they have no identity that way they have no flowers so they are yet in unity and our new generation of all these flowering plants whatever Yaki has not mentioned Thuja or conifers that is because she is talking about advent of flowering plants since the time our evolution occurred, how human beings developed. So it's all about flowering. They are dinosaur types. So they don't have an identity. They are still in universal consciousness. So the whole journey of conifers is how from that stage they came into this world. Yani they have to come descend. You can call it like falling from the rays. So you have the sequoias. Then gradually you see the ferns coming, pines coming, and down you come. Then you come to the Thuja. Thuja is in the middle way. That is the time that the animal consciousness comes. Yani now you are leaving the spiritual world and coming into the material world, and it is represented by Manipur Chakra. So the animal, you know the rubric, no?
Animal
illusion. There is an animal in your abdomen. Abhi kaise aaya wo? So first time you get an animal energy in you. Human beings are always fighting the animal inside, na? Apna chakra dekhenge 1 to 7. It is from the animal to the divine. This is our journey. Where animals have left, from there we have begun, and now we are going towards the divinity. उसके ऊपर भी हम लोग बोलते हैं 7 चक्रा सिस्टम यानी सुपर ह्यूमंस वो तो अपने को मालूम भी नहीं है. So this is ours is from animal to that. That is why human beings wear clothes, no? To hide the animal. Which animal wears clothes? So humans wear clothes because I don't want to be that animal part. So whether we want or not, we are all moving towards divinity. In our own pace, without your aware, maybe because of your fight with your partner, maybe because of your career, the way you are struggling, the way you are doing, every time you are becoming more aware. Now you are on fast track or slow track, that doesn't matter, but you are evolving. But those are coming into the animal energy. So Thuja is the first one in which the animal energy comes. So it's one side very sexual, other side it is still in the spiritual consciousness. So these are the people who become priests. ये जो church में priest होता है ना, they are fighting with their sexuality because that animal energy is there, and then you want to cover up because in your core you are very spiritual, but you are also having that and you are fighting that and you don't want it and you are covering it up. So she is telling me पुष्टि मार्ग वाली है और बहुत सेवा करती है, but अंदर से वो guilt आता है. And that is making that OCD. So it's a very good remedy
so
for...
So when she has to remove clothes from the balcony, so undergarment she will cover it with a towel and then she will bring it.
So she is denying the animal
part. So much, cover up and...
but when you understand it, see now from PM perspective, everything is understandable. Or the chakra perspective. So it's... The whole idea of this PEM is first sensation method. The idea of sensation method was that you understand. Now PEM makes it even, I would say, little more understandable because finally when you see the case, the whole case is understood. So our problem with homeopathy was it was blind. We knew Chinkona bath will work for malaria, but we didn't know why. And then those masters, they started doing all this methods of repertorization, and then some remedy will come. It's a blind procedure. अभी बोला ना 4-5 remedy आएगा तो कौन सा उसमें ढूंढने का? We don't know. So it's a little blind procedure. We know intuitively because homeopathy is higher chakra compared to allopathy. So lot of intuitive work is there. It's also art work.
Yes.
It is not just पढ़ लिया तो आ गया. ये आता है तो ये दवा देने का, ये है तो ये ऐसा नहीं. There's a lot of art, there's a lot of creativity in you, intuitiveness which is required. मैं क्यों बोल रहा था?
You were trying to say you're blind है तो separation of experience से क्या हुआ?
So now what we are doing with our methods is making it understandable. Shankaran did a beautiful job, no? Situational Materia Medica. I used to love that book. Spirit of Homeopathy. How to understand a remedy. For example, simple magnesium we know is orphan. So once knowing that orphan, then we can understand many things. Alumina with the controlled parents. So then we can imagine how it will be. Like S is competing for that one chair in the musical chair. Two people and one. You know, these are, it gives you some clarity.
Yeah.
Again, clarity. You know, when we say understanding, clarity, these are all 6 chakras. So, when you function from or you do the patient's understanding from higher chakra, you get the depth of the patient's understanding. You even enjoy homeopathy. It becomes like you are waiting when next time a patient will come and they will say something and you will love it because you get that joy of it. You know, you will never get joy, you know, when you are on the seashore. If you want pearls, you have to deep dive. You know? Only in the sea you will get. I just remember some 7, maybe 10 years back. There was one guy from Czech Republic. He was sitting in my clinic. अभी इसको नया केस दिखाने का. I was tired whole day. My God, it was so tiring. And then around 9 o'clock, that my man fixed up a case just to show him one case. Not even 10, maybe even 15, 20 years back. So I was so exhausted, and that is the case you all have all seen. You know, it was little paranoid schizophrenia, and he was very possessive of his wife, and he was suspecting where she's been. But when I took the case, that case was my first case of black leonine. And when I did that case, at the end of it, it was like Preeti's Coca-Cola. It was so, I got tired just nikal gaya because something new you learn, that you know, that learning, joy of learning new. If you have that, no, then the system which you are doing is much better because then you enjoy what you are doing. Otherwise, क्या है, मेरे को घर भी चलाने का, ये भी करने का, वो भी करने का, चलो ना डाल दिया इसमें आ गया, तो good. It is not bad. So somebody who can give that much time should do that. It is not wrong. But what we are doing is something where somebody is completely engrossed in it. It is like a, you know, total dedication. So it's just a level of what you want to do. So when you do like this, then it is very, you will not get tired at the end of the day. Nothing exhausts you. People ask me, "Itna tum karte ho abhi bhi?" No, मैं कुछ नहीं करता. I'm doing what I enjoy. It's like a nice time for me. So what we are doing is we are taking it to the higher level. In terms of chakras, allopathy is 4th chakra. 4th chakra has to do with cognition. It has to do with right, wrong, judgment, criticism. And it is also school age. So who understands school age and don't want to think of chakras. So that is the stage where morality, this is the way, only way, father, rules. So they follow this system, you know, very scientific, intellect. And they feel this is the best. So they are not wrong. They feel logic is the highest faculty. All allopaths feel ये scientific किधर है? And we are stumped. We say हाँ यार scientific करने के दिखाने का उनको. Why to degrade ourselves? You say we are not scientific. We are one step ahead of it. Because there is something called wisdom. There is higher.
That is true.
There is something which is higher than intellect. Intellect is it's a rubbish. It's a now you can call it. It's a logic is one of the rubbish faculties. Knowledge is important. ना अभी मलाड में आने का तो you need knowledge. अभी वो भी निकाल दिया वो Google में. हाँ you need ना. ये खाने से ये तकलीफ होता है. You have to need. That is information. But this art, that 5th chakra is art. 5th chakra is intuition. Where something you have to be open to something coming from inside, listening to your inner voice, seeing what it is, putting things together, working with unknown. You don't know what this patient is going to be. There you put them into known factors. ना आएगा तो ये possession syndrome है क्या schizophrenia है. Correct? Schizophrenia है तो ये टाइप का है क्या वो टाइप का है. Categorizing. Here we are saying we don't want to know what it is. Let's see what's behind. So homeopathy is a little bit, you have to be more inside yourself. This is very important. If you want to do that sort of homeopathy, I won't say good or bad, but a deeper work if you want to. You have to be connected. Shankaran says, no, go at the level of experience, so we should also be at that level when we are practicing. Then you will perceive better, then you will make connections without, not to use too much head. You know, abhi say, patient aaya chalu karo. Are ye bola, ye rubric. So you are allopath. कुछ नहीं खाली सुनने का. And trust you will get answers. And something will tell you it is correct. You have to trust your intuition more and more. This is 5th chakra. So you have to be in your silent space and you will not know how you got it. That is the beautiful. And this is natural, no? How you go to somebody, you are going to tell, I don't know, but I am going to like that person. That like, dislike is very unnatural. You go and tell somebody, I don't know, but I like this person. How it happens? Who did it? Is it logic?
No.
When somebody falls in love, is logic? तो माँ बाप बोलते अरे ये कैसा है, ये बराबर नहीं है, ये लड़का गड़बड़ है, ये पर उनका खत्म हो गया, उधर वो जुड़ गया उनका ना. So that is something. Most of our things are coming from inside, but we have silenced that voice because we think logic is most important. They are like children. You have to think, school boys. Allopaths are like school boys. You play with your toys. You feel that is the best. Continue. Never degrade to prove them. It's like already we are taking an inferior position away. We have to prove to them. अरे जाओ ना यार. People who are spiritual and all, do they ask भगवान किधर है, ये क्या है, पहले मेरे को logic दिखाओ. They trust, they have an experience, they feel there is some higher power. Finished. So homeopathy is experiential. It's much deeper, much rewarding, much more healing, and much deeper. What are they doing? Symptom relief, they deta, khali dawa de deta. What is that a cure? It's not a cure. With some chemicals produced in some laboratory. We are giving natural substances and that also in a potentized form. So we are working at a very deep level. So these methods are good because it is like a human journey. We say no. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. From dark. We knew. How did animal know that there is truth? He didn't have any logic that time. So most of us are inspired by something which we don't know why. Later on you will see the truth. I have quite a few cases which now I can explain because of all this system. But when I gave, I don't know how I gave. That time I didn't know all this. Now you make a lot of theories and then now I can make it logical. देखो ये 4th subclass है ना, ये इधर आ गया ना, तो ये आ गया ना. But when you have done it, that time you don't. So you have to perceive, feel the patient. It is very important. So I think homeopathy is going leaps and bounds and it's in a very beautiful place today. But you have to also remember the higher method you do know, lesser people will come. How many will come for a classical, Bhimsen Joshi? And if you have a pop music or film songs, more will come. No? So nothing, it's good.
Coldplay.
Coldplay ना तो फिर Coldplay तो बिल्कुल नहीं अच्छा. It's not so cold.
So in Dindigul we had gone recently for a seminar, and there PM nobody knows. And I had shown a case of boron, and then I had come to boron because of PM. So I introduced the inner age and the PM method, and oh my god, after that case so many people were interested to study more, learn more. They asked, it was so very well received because in so many cases if you don't know this idea of inner age and inner development, I think we are...
Now let's take this example, boron. बोरॉन का सेंसेशन क्या है? अप एंड डाउन मूवमेंट एग्रेवेट्स ना. प्लेन में गया, नीचे आता है तो लिफ्ट ऊपर नीचे. एट द लेवल ऑफ सेंसेशन we know. But why? Something can explain even the sensation, and that is period. Why? It is at the time when the baby is in the womb and the labor movement starts. So the child is pushed down and the child is confused. Should I go out or stay? Go out or stay? It is indecisive. It's very shaky. It's almost like an earthquake. Imagine, no, for 9 months that beryllium state, you're like a peaceful, everything mother takes care, and suddenly those things come. So they're very panicky. I don't know what to do. And they don't like this up and down movement. Now when you understand this, then you understood the sensation. So which is deeper? Something which explains sensation is deeper, or sensation is deeper because of that sensation he is in the womb, or because he is in the womb and experiencing this, he is getting this sensation. Nitrogen. After that, he goes down, the baby goes down, and head is lodged in the pelvis. Finally he decides, okay, there is no option, because पहले एक आता है contraction, फिर थोड़ा time के बाद दूसरा आता है. Then many start coming. The baby finally realizes, I have no option, I have to go out. So he goes down and he is lodged in the pelvis. What is the rubric of sensation of carbon? As if the head is in an army. And what is the main thing about the remedy? Main feeling of the remedy is whether I have energy or not. Correct? Energy, na, carbo weight and energy remedies, no, all the petrol, sab udhar hi aa gaya, fire element. Now when you are there, now what are you waiting for? You have to start the process. So it is like standing on the no, not signal. Race mein, when you stand on the line. So what you said? On your mark. On your mark. On your mark means chalo aa jao bhai. That is go wrong. Huh? इधर उधर मत जाओ, इधर उधर मत जाओ, उधर जाओ. On your mark, get set. That means gear up your energy. कभी कोई मिस्टेक भी कुछ आवाज आया तो भागेगा ना आदमी. Startling from our noise. अभी बोलो, अभी आपको बाय हार्ट करने का है कि आपने आपको मालूम पड़ता है. And then is the stage of go. Go is nitrogen. And you are going through the narrow canal. What aggravates? What are the sensations? Suffocation, tunnel, going, anxiety when time is set, you want to do it as fast as you want. Because if there is a cephalopelvic disproportion or a cord around your neck, you can die also. Again, panic attack. So nitrogen and boron are so similar. But when you understand the inner age, you understand the sensation. So you don't have to buy heart. And then when you come out, what do you do first? Breathe. Oxygen. And after the oxygen you breathe, then what you do?
Cry. No.
You cut the umbilical cord. What does it mean? It means separated. What is the main feeling of fluorine? Marriage has to be broken. Any connection with somebody is broke. Because if you connect, you can die. तोड़ो कुछ भी नहीं. So you see, everything is connected. If you understand it this way, then it's very nice.
So why you said fire element carbon? Sorry.
Carbon.
Fire element
So,
is
storehouse.
because,
Storehouse.
fire element is an element of a toddler.
Yeah.
Okay? So, womb stage is earth quality, element, infancy is.
Water, no?
Then, second chakra, first chakra is womb. That is earth element. I'm grounding. I'm learning to get grounded. Because you have come from somewhere, no? इधर अभी ये जमीन पे बनने के लिए. Second chakra is emotions, which is infancy. Third chakra is fire.
So second is water.
Second is water. That is infancy. Water is emotions. अभी हमने बात किया ना, emotions ना. Third is fire. Because now you have to take action. Fire is action. So whenever you have to take action, carbon ka, when you are in the womb, who does the action? Mother does. Everything, no, from breathing, eating, sleeping, everything mother does. That baby is asset. even when the boron is, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. This is the thing. Do I stay in or go out? Stay in, go out. This up and down movement. When you're in the carbon, now I must act. One of my carbon patients came to me and he's saying, "Sir, सुबह बहुत difficult होता है, मेरा starter काम नहीं करता." You see, it's carbon. You did very well with graphitis. So that is where your energy comes. Fire is energy. And it's also autonomy. Now I have to start an independent life. So autonomy is toddler. And toddler is one who says, I will do things. Even in your infancy, your mother does everything for you. You know, she'll feed you, change your clothes, toilet, everything. Mother will take care, nappy and whatever. Toddler, if you tell him, mother will say, I'll put shirt. No, I will do it myself. Doing. This doing thing is toddler. I want to do. Before that, mother does. That feeling that I am doing, I can control my stools. I, ego. So there are many things you can think of I as ego. You can think it as a from fire element. From Erickson, you can think about autonomy. So that is that carbon is very important. It is the first step of your taking action. Because you have to run after that. So that is why it's like a toddler, like a fire stage.
So lack of energy.
And that's why it is also fire, no? Main remedy is for fire, no? Do you have the fire to do things or no fire?
And it's the fuel,
energy.
no?
It is the fuel.
Sir, the patient complains I don't have energy only in my body. So that also comes in
carbon.
Carbon
only and toddler.
Like a carbon. We didn't know graphitis.
Without the aggression also. Because generally fire element we also say, no, very aggressive people.
Depends, no. See, fire has many dimensions. Fire can warm your house, no? Think of a fireplace, it keeps you warm. But that same fire can burn your house.
Yes.
So there is fire constructive and fire destructive. Fire destructive is more of old age, where the fire is used to destroy your body.
Yeah.
So elements also are included.
Yeah.
And that's why I say chakra is very interesting because all things come together. The PM, the elements. Most important is the physical symptoms. Till now if you use ना, sir आपके chart से physical नहीं मालूम पड़ता है. Chakra में, if it is your first chakra, you'll know you'll have problem with your feet. If your second chakra, your urinary problem, your uterus problem, all those stomach chakra, navel chakra, you'll have metabolism. Heart chakra, you'll know about all the chest complaints and so you see everything. Throat chakra is ENT. So from your problem also you know.
So then you directly ask the question or if
what?
Suppose if you know the chakra this thing, so you directly ask the physical element or anything like that?
No, they come with it. No? Why to ask?
Achha.
I have to only ask why have you come. So it depends also. Some people come for physical, some come for emotional, some people even come for spiritual. I feel I'm stuck in my life and I don't know how to go ahead. I thought I'll just talk with you and see if something can come.
So bird technique, no?
Correct. Look, ये उस्ताद लोग. So which chakras you are functioning? That's higher chakras. Personal development के लिए आते हैं, physical के लिए आते हैं, emotional के लिए आते हैं. But this brings everything together. Also, it brings the spiritual together. You are able to guide them. They'll ask, "What do you think I should do?" Now you can't say, "No, I'm a homeopath." You go to somebody else. It's human, no? That will say. And if it's the right time, then you have to tell, "No, don't you think there's a block here? This is where you need to work." Something like that. You can also guide them. So you also in a way a guide to them, no? In helping them go further in their life journey. हाँ जी, बोलो जी.
Zooming out.
Seeing the whole picture, getting an idea, map. The zooming out is very important. Unless both things are done together, you can never come to a remedy. So, again I'll tell you, there's a different approach for physical problems and there's different approach for mental problems. For physical, what you do is straight away zoom in. What way you zoom in? If the patient is telling, I got pain, what do you ask? Where is the pain?
Type of.
I will not tell you. खत्म ना, उधर ही तुम्हारा wicket out. अरे बोलो ना, नहीं तो treat कैसा करेगा? So you straight away go to location, sensation, modality and concomitants. How is the pain? What makes it better? What makes it worse? और बाबा साथ साथ में क्या होता है? Correct? So you go into it. So in physicals, location is easy. They'll tell you some part of your body and then you start what are the other modality, sensation, concomitant, and then you zoom out, take the nature of the patient, see him as a whole person and see is it matching to what remedy you are getting. So zooming out is the second half. In mind cases, you cannot do location. Where will you do location? It's like an ocean, no? The body से भी बड़ा है और आपका रेपर्टराइजेशन आप जाओ रेपर्टरीज में माइंड एक ही है, माइंड सेक्शन एक ही है, बॉडी का 25 है. So it is classified, it is mapped already. Mind is not mapped. So where to look in the mind? And mind you can also interpret and that can make a big problem. So mind is a big problem. Mind is like, मेरे को शंकरन हमेशा बोलते थे कि you know, अरे mind symptoms तो dangerous है. It is like going into the sea without a compass. And I agree with him. And that also struck in my mind. So I said we need to map mind. Now how will you map? You need some basis on which you map, no? So our Jan Schulten, thanks to him, he mapped it on development. Then we got now plants which are mapped on development. Hello, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir.
And then now we have mapped animals on that way. So what is mapping? Zooming out. So when a mind patient comes, you have to first zoom out. अच्छा, क्या बोल रहा है ये? Career का बात कर रहा है. Okay. He's talking how the things are. Okay. He's talking about if it's a plant, types of plant. If it is a mineral, it is a ferrum series. If it is an animal, all possibilities of a schoolage, could be even a mammal or maybe an insect. So then you map and then you know where in the map पूरा देखने का. And then को लगता है इधर दवा मिलेगा. And then you zoom in. So in mind cases, you first zoom out, see the whole idea, see where you want to focus, then you go down. So map should be not very rigid and very detailed. और detail नहीं होना चाहिए. It should just give you guideline. इधर जाके देखो. Then you use your materia medica, use all your knowledge which you want. एक बार मालूम पड़े नेट्रल लाइन का है, अर्ली है. फिर आपको सोचना है चॉकलेट दूँ, थिया दूँ, कौन सा दूँ उधर. Then you can use. But then you focus and go there and then you do your detail work. But you know that my remedy must cover this part. So you zoom out first and then zoom in. And in plant kingdom you zoom in, and in physicals you zoom in first and you confirm with zooming out. Okay, so both are important, only the process is a little reverse.
Like in acutes, no, many times now we do, no? Like we take the totality, repertorization chart में, then I know okay, which age में मेरे को देखना है remedy.
Correct.
It becomes very easy.
Yes, exactly. And
Top
then you have
10
already
remedies,
some
15
ideas in top 10
age
remedies.
मालूम है patient का, तो उसमें से then we choose.
We need to spread it far and wide. This
Zooming
idea.
out has made easy. So I am more aware with super class. So
Nice.
the idea of where what type of patient is, and like you said, the age देखो कहाँ पे है. It's very similar, no different, of course, because I'm not aware. But,
Because initially I remember when we were doing sensation, we assured that no, I am doing is what I am doing and this is what I want to do and let it be even if it is different. That was actually my beginning. Initially, I wanted to fit in. No, I'm doing this, but I'm doing this. That confidence that no, it's okay, that it's different, and even if it is, I feel this is the way and it should be done. So I'm happy now, even that zooming out is coming.
Because the same model is used. Model is same.
Model is same, correct?
Feminine, masculine, 6.
Acha,
So-
feminine, masculine we have.
So the model is very similar. But
Same.
there are some areas, just say nitrogen, oxygen for us is 3rd. That he is put in the 5th. So there are some areas where it diverges and then
But it is
gets...
your, how you see.
Yeah, from what
The
point of view
basic
you are seeing.
point of view. So
Yeah.
when people ask me, I say it's a different point of view. How
Yeah.
can I? Some people ask me in my lectures, what do you think about this from super class? I say, I don't know, don't ask. And I am nobody to tell because I don't know. How can I talk about something I don't know? Because your entry or your perception is different.
Yeah.
Because you are seeing it from a sensation perspective. I am seeing it from PEM perspective, inner age perspective. It's a very different thing. But I am happy because I feel that I can even understand sensations because of this method.
Yeah.
But I am happy masculine, feminine bhi aa gaya. And with this chakras now you have this inner, this Ida Pingla, this masculine, feminine has become so important and so integrated in our method. Feminine and masculine is a very important dimension. And even in plants and all, you will see, first two, the womb and the infancy is feminine,
Yeah.
then toddler and school age is masculine, and then comes adolescence, which is again feminine, and the 6th chakra, old age. So I think we took a lot of things are mentioned in our book, Chakra book, that masculine, feminine has been discussed quite a bit. But even from the plant kingdom only we had begun. This is feminine, this is masculine.
Yeah.
It's a very
All the lectures. Yeah. You taught us.
All feminine expressions excluded.
No.
Even when
How we say Ignatia
I have been to those
Swamika,
lectures.
a woman will have more menstrual problem because it is in the masculine. So good, whatever you all do, you all must follow it and do it till the end. When I was following that Shankaran, initially there was no book. No, there was that book. Only one book,
Spirit of
Homeopathy. And there was no other book and there was no computer. I remember when the first computer came, I didn't have. But Shankaran already had that when the very, very early.
Program.
And he was making all those drawings and colors. He was enjoying doing that. There was nothing, there was no software, nothing. But it was like a toy in those days. First of all, you had to connect it with a telephone. But before that, we used to repertorize. From that time, I know. But his book was amazing. And I remember I had by-hearted his book. And his substance, which came second. Sometimes then he had done some provings also later on. And once or twice, I remember there was a case. It was some snake case. And I told him that we could give, he asked me, what do you think? I said, I think we could give Crotalus. He said, but there's so much of guilt. She's talking about, like Kali Broom, about God and forgiveness and all. I said, but it is there in your proving. He said, is it there? And it was in a small that. So I had by-hearted so much, So it was nice for him. Now we explain because why snakes have that. That feeling of, fear, divine punishment, which is exactly like object of divine vengeance or God's vengeance. So you can see how, so whatever you do, you have to do. So I was like, every word, everything I would just know. And another thing which I think, which helped me, is when I went to Shankaran, I sat with him and I even dedicated my first book to him, and I still see him in a very high, like a teacher. He is my first teacher. I also had a choice. That time I had done my psychiatry, and 1 year senior to me was Kumar Davli. And we used to eat together. I used to make fun that time with him. Ye kya safed hai? We used to try even in our patients in KEM hospital. And I used to make a lot of fun with him and joke with him. did not know that one day I would also become one. So, but when I heard one case, they go through a lot of, we should not discuss about somebody, but I saw Shankaran as, I'll not talk about what I saw in other, but here I saw it was very psychological minded, it was very spiritual, that book. So I said, he is what I'm going to learn from. So finally, he also, I started talking where I was very, I made myself observed in that, not that, but out of enthusiasm. I would go to that seminars in Birla, Matoshri, no? Birla.
Yeah, Birla, always Birla.
So there, I would get up and ask and argue, not just for that doing it, but because I was asking. So sometimes there would be some questions and there was one case and it was, he said, what do you think is the remedy? And the mother was some Naja and it was a child. And it was a case and there was a break. And after the break there was a question answer. Everybody is going to tell what it is. So I rose my hand up and I told it some plant. She said, come up. He called me up on the stage and he's saying, mother is a snake. Do you think it will give a baby which is a plant? And everybody laughed. I said, but we don't know who's the father. So I remember this incident and he is witty, you know, he appreciates also like this. He will not mind it that I would do this. And then so this is how it started, and then there were quite a few times that then he invited me once in that lunch break, come and have food with us. And so then I asked him, I want to sit. And I had to, it was an important step because I had to leave my post as a HOD in Somaya. Because then otherwise I have no time in the morning only I have to go. And he said yes. I said be sure because I am to leaving that. Either bhi nahi, udhar bhi nahi. So when I began, my intention was he is right. Our problem is we know too much. We question, but usne ye diya, ye bhi ho sakta tha na. Till you are not a good student, no, you can't learn. And you have to empty yourself. So let's say I do a case and tell him, I think it is calcareous. And he will say, no, it is lycopodium. I will straight away remove that calcarea from my mind. I will only see how he saw lycopodium. And for quite a few years, I would only do that. What he says is a gospel truth, unquestionable, and see his perspective. Then a stage comes where you start telling your also part. Then you have your own opinion, but not initially. When you are too much with your own ideas, no, then you are not letting things come in. This is kind of art of listening. Also for patients, you have to have that. If you really want to understand patients, listen. So we never tell case taking. Our first book says art of case, art of listening. So you have to listen and really listen, and whatever he would say, I would go and write down. That is, it's like a pearl of wisdom which he has told. So I think if you are a good student, wherever you are, with whomever you are, if you study like this, no, then the best out of you will come and you will learn that person. Whatever said and done, whoever be the teacher, whether it is Sudhir Baldota, or it is Bhavisha, Sachindra Bhavisha, Dinesh, or Jayesha, Shankaran, whoever you want to say, they all have much more experience, they know a lot more. Even if we come to that level, is not bad, no? So if we can be empty and learn and try to be as good as that particular person, I think it's very good. They're all excellent practitioners, they're doing a lot of good job. And all have their own approach. Just see that somehow you are comfortable with that method. And then you can always diversify. And that, I think, it automatically happens. I always tell my students also, I tell, don't stop where I will stop, you all have to take it. I will also like if you refute all my ideas and say all that was rubbish what Mahesh Gandhi said, but we have started something new. No problem. Life has to continue, and any science which does not continue to grow will die one day. Like when Freud came up with many ideas. And his contemporaries challenged all his ideas and came up with this idea. Doesn't mean Freud didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But he at least gave you some soil to question it. So don't stop where all these teachers stop. I would tell that come to that level and then go even further. How much future we have? We will have few more years and what we'll do. But the science has to continue, no? So all teachers, whoever is a teacher is somebody whom we feel is above us and better than us and we can learn. And there is no right, everything is perception. This is the way, this is not the way, is not true. Everything is right. And like Rennie said, no, everybody gives very good results. It's true.
Sir, as you mentioned, Dr. Dhavle, like in second and third year, no, we had this ICR teachers, Dr. Barwalia, Himesh Mehta. But I feel the grounding, what they did, the grounding work they really do very well. That part is also really important.
So good, you went through
All of
case
it, no,
taking,
I mean, so I also actually started with Dr. Praveer Jain. So when you go to different teachers, I mean, they all teach you something, but at one point you realize what resonates with you the most.
So then later on,
Then
that
you
grounding work they had really done very well. The teaching part. When I was a student, they really, but Dr. Barwalia, Dr. Himesh Mehta, we used to have our clinics. So case taking, the form, they give you a format. Then we, Dr. Shankaran also we were attending, but that format came and then you go into this little abstract. So you start.
This is it. That is exactly why. That is what.
As a new, to start a practice or to start learning, that would help.
Yeah.
But later on, when you learn, you feel it is too much of theoretical. When you read it line,
Exactly. This is what I'm telling you. Kumar Dhavle comes from allopathy. I told you all inside. It was a big difficulty for me to change from being an allopath to a homeopath. Because you have to change your mindset. And it is not so much in learning new, but in unlearning what you know. Because you have to unlearn, because that you believe is the way. So there is a little, what is different between allopath and homeopath? When you go to a homeopath, allopath, he knows. आप नहीं बोलो. इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया है ना, हमको मालूम है कि आपको मालूम है. आप गूगल करके आएंगे तो ये नहीं चलने वाला.
They talk like this only.
Correct? So you are going to somebody who is a know-all. And you don't know anything and he will test and he will say this is your problem. In homeopathy, you say I am nobody, patient only knows it. So this is a big change. When you hear them, it's like you have to do so much. Idea is you have to just listen and that's it. And then many patients ask me after that, so what is your analysis, sir? I said, I don't analyze. I heard you and I'm just finding out one remedy which will match your problems and which will probably help you. That's it.
This
I'm not
question
analyzing at all.
Yeah,
many patients ask, what is your analysis? Or do I need to change something? Like that also.
So here, no, it is. So when it is too much into the logic and in the intellect, it sounds very, it's like scientific. But it is limited. You have to stop idealizing that aspect and thinking that is the highest faculty. This is the first thing, because that is where most people are, and this is what the whole West has promoted and always told us, that this is the best way, that ours is a scientific approach. So you have to tell that is why we don't do that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Chalo, good.
No, I mean seriously,
We will also write those pearls of wisdom.
yeah, seriously.
It is so easy for us, sir, because of the work we do or work Dr. Shankaran do. We just have to learn and apply. We are like earning money, like doing nothing, I feel. Just because we.
Learning is equally important, no?
But it's still so easy for us because everything is out there. Everything is out there, you've done everything. You just have to learn, that's it. And it's so easy.
Just walk on the path.
Yeah, exactly.